Ever since I can remember, I've had a love for music. My mom and dad moved to the US in the 90s, which made me a first-generation Mexican American. I remember owning a Michael Jackson cassette, but I don't know how I got it. I also enjoyed listening to cumbias. I used to pick out CDs in the store and my dad would always buy them for me. I was a huge fan of the Cumbia Kings. I used to reflect on it until I understood what I liked about it. It wasn't the words because I was too young to know what they were saying, but sitting next to that silver Lennox CD player, I would skip through songs until I heard the right beat. If it had a cool melodic sound with good vocals and heavy bass, I would be instantly attached to the record. For years, it's all I cared about. Fast forward into the summertime in 2008, I discovered FL Studio. I must have spent hours on the family PC creating sounds that I didn't even have a use for yet. I didn't have any close friends, so it's not like I would ever show these to anyone, and I wasn't a rapper, so they definitely weren't for me neither. However, playing with kicks and snares reminded me of a time growing up when I would wonder how music was made. I never imagined I could create it in our living room through computer monitors and some dial-up internet. That summer changed my life. Eventually, I started writing raps in my own beats. They were shitty, but it got me a buzz in school. I would slowly focus more on writing, freestyling, and recording until I quit making beats altogether. I just didn't have the money for new equipment, and it felt like I wasn't getting any better. I would cut demos in GarageBand and release on hotnewhiphop.com or .piff. But eventually the same feeling I had about beats would surface in raps. I felt like no matter how hard I tried, the sound I fell in love with as a child eluded me. I call it the industry sound. For years, I would search for it through plugins, presets, programs, and even studios. It wasn't until I found myself alone in a 6x8 cell at 23 years old that I had an epiphany. I wanted better. The only thing I was ever good at was music. I realized I had to pick between the streets or the artistry. 2 years later, I was discharged. I had one mission in life, to make something of myself. That's when I found it, the industry sound. I met Nick through one of the more popular studios in Denver, but I didn't know it would be the beginning of a lifelong alliance. It started slow, but as my talents grew, the vision got clear, and we were recording every single Saturday for over a year straight. I would release an EP in 2020, but it wasn't something arranged, it just happened. Now that I had all these dots aligned, I needed to get serious. So much had transpired up to that point, and I felt like it was time to tell my story. I started to think about how any major label artist would approach an album. I had a catalog and plenty new content, so I just adjusted my writing. It had to get personal. I had to get real. I had to be vulnerable. It was awkward at first, especially when learning how to create content that would live up to my previous material, but eventually I found my sound. This album is just a product of time, growth, reflection, grief, loss, and love. It's the story of my life. Even though it's a thoughtful project, the later songs resonate with triumph. If there's anything I learned through this experience, it's this. Stay down till you come up, be true to who you are, and stay solid to yourself. Sometimes it's all you got. I could finally close a lifelong chapter in my life because I feel like I've achieved everything I wanted. I don't really know what my next move is, but I do know one thing. When you reach new heights, don't look down.
I can't help but feel like we've been here before.